Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways actual play team. This actual play uses the Delta Green tabletop role-playing game rules by Arc Dream Publishing. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. Listeners should know that this podcast will include mature themes and scenes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, military organizations, and etc., which may bear resemblance to entities living, dead, or redacted, is completely coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your handler. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I am your handler this evening, handler Michael Diamond. We are back with our series of scenarios and adventures with OCEL, our Delta Green campaign. We continue tonight with our work in Red Hook. And so at the top of the show, I'll thank you for being a listener, and especially those of you who are supporting us via Patreon. You can choose to do that if you'd like. Go check out what we offer at patreon.com/the Old Ways podcast. All sorts of stuff, including giveaways and early episode releases. And you can also check us out on YouTube. It's possible that by the time this releases, we'll have reached our 1,000 YouTube subscriber goal and set a brand new goal. But if in case we have not, you could totally check us out on YouTube and just type the Old Ways podcast into YouTube and we'll totally be there, promise. And so we'll get to introductions to my right.
Hi, this is Miranda, and I play sometimes medical doctor, but mostly doctor of chemistry, Aaron Weber. And just like Bill Murray in Ghostbusters 2, I'm ready to dive into this hole and find out what is going on.
You know, I think the key thing to remember here is it's not just you going into this hole. You're bringing 3 other people with you into this hole. And that could be for one packed hole. To Dr. Weber's right.
Hello, I'm Nate, and I'm playing Special Agent Elliot Winters. After a trip to the gas station, Brett's miraculously healed. And as the other doctor said, we are about to dive into a piece of wood. Once more into the breach, dear friends.
I think I like that idea. At the end of the table.
Hi, this is Allie, and I play Special Agent Joanne Hart. And, well, I'm actually going to lead the charge into this hole because I got to find those little ones. I can't lose any more kids.
Yeah, you've lost a lot of kids at this point. That's something to think about. And last but most certainly not least.
Hi, my name is Tegan, and I'm playing Brett Young Buck Hawking. I'm probably just going to bring up the rear on this group. I am still haggard. I'm alive. I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm strapped, but I don't know. I don't know how this ends.
I don't think anyone does, but that's how we're going to find out. You had a special visitor recently who helped you reconstitute yourself, and that's been super helpful. And I'm certain that there's nothing strange or alien about that experience at all. And now we'll get to tonight's events. So we'll raise the curtain. We'll just say in the car, as our agents have collected some golf bags from a local gas station, totally reasonable. And they've outfitted themselves in preparation to enter a space they do not know, including some very powerful flashlights that they've managed to get a hold of. So we will let them have at it. 4 agents in a car. We'll say it's Dr. Weber's car. And the agents are piecing together now what they're going to do and how they're going to get it done. So have at it.
We're not going back to the house, are we? Like, you came out of the wood or whatever interdimensional hole in the hotel, so we don't have to go back to the house, right?
I mean, I wouldn't think we need to go back, considering that I came out in the hotel room after falling in there in the house. We should be fine to not have to go back there.
Ooh, okay.
We should be fine.
Hawking Winters, do you see any flaw in us not going back to the house?
I'm up for what you're up for.
It's hard to say, Doctor. We don't really know what we're dealing with here. And if it's a doorway and has any sort of connection to another plane from here, and it matters where you enter it and where you exit, who the hell knows?
I don't know. I know a moderate amount about physics, and I don't know. The whole thing just seems really fucked to me. I've tried to explain it to myself in my head, how some sort of, I don't know, wormhole or something could exist here, but it doesn't. I wasn't really theoretical. I didn't really take those classes.
The right thing to do would be to calm ourselves down, go and take this thing out, do some research, do a little bit of analysis, understand what each of these runes mean, decipher it, decode it, and then we got a bundle of dead babies on our hands. So I think we just have to go with what we got.
Handler, how complicated is the symbol on this wood? Okay, so I can't just sketch it on a piece of paper in 5 minutes.
No, the best and most effective method for you to do it would be to do a rubbing. And you sort of get the Indiana Jones Last Crusade flash in your head of taking paper and doing some sort of rubbing of it. You don't have the tools to do that at this point, but that would be the most effective way. It's too intricate.
Yeah, God knows what might happen if I try to push some paper onto it. And okay, yeah, okay, it was an idea,
but we got to do it somewhere. We can't do it here in this car. So either we take our asses back into that hotel, or we could go back to my place and do this thing there.
You think it'd be safer at your place?
Less likely for housekeeping to bust in, because guess what? I ain't got none of that.
Yeah, and what if she picks it up and thinks it's trash and she throws it into the dumpster, and then the garbage man picks it up and they destroy it and we're still inside it?
Given our last couple days, that's probably exactly what would happen.
And then we're trapped in the night floors again and we can't get out.
Why do you got to bring that up?
It's not the night floors. It's not the night floors.
Scientifically, it's the same thing. Scientifically, same concept. Other dimensional portal can apparently only get to sometime, because we never fell into it before. So we don't know the rules for getting into it. And do we know the rules for getting out of it? Hart, do you know the rules for getting out of it? How did you get out of it, Hart?
I turned around and it was glowing, but it wasn't glowing brightly enough to illuminate anything in the room. I just happened to turn around and see that it was shining. That's it. That's the only reason I even made it out in the first place.
Okay, so we don't know the reasons, the way to get out of it.
All right, you are doing a fine job of convincing me we got to do this back at the Garrison building. I have to admit. Because if this is a doorway into a place, and the night floors, when we open that door on the third floor, we went into a certain place then. And if this is the same, it stands to reason we've got to be in the same place where this doorway opens to be where them kids is taken.
Oh, that's not what I meant. But I see your logic there, and I mean, that's what I was thinking. I didn't want to be the one that said it. So,
because if it's a door that you can carry around and move, where it opens is going to open different on the other side if you've done move the door.
Can we tie a rope around someone
and send them in?
And then they go in, and then the rope is here.
Well, now we're just redoing that whole plot of that movie Poltergeist, and that done ended pretty poorly, but also it did work. So
I'm not going to suggest we don't do something because it was in a movie.
No.
That feels like a reasonable scientific experiment. And if we can't get you back out, then I guess that's when we go in too.
Who's the doctor looking at when she says that? Just out of curiosity.
Probably Winters.
Son of a bitch.
I'm going to nod my head.
I don't trust Hart going in there. You tie a rope on Hart. She's likely to tug of war us all in there, running off after whatever.
I'll wait.
Right. No one's going in there alone. I like this idea. Hart, tie myself up to you. You got yourself in there before. Maybe you can do whatever you did. I'll follow you in. We'll take our tools, we'll go find these kids, get out.
Yeah.
These two on the other side, or at least one? Is that what you're talking about? You don't want to go in? You want to be on the other side and
No, it was going to be a test where you go in and we see if we can pull you out. Like, if we can get you, like, it was a very brief mission. But then we all go in. So we weren't proposing that you do all of it, but just maybe to see if you could do it.
Let's do it. Why not?
Well, we all know that I can apparently go in and out of it, so I am happy to go back in and come back out to show you that it's a possibility of something that can be done.
No, I appreciate that. I still don't think anyone should go in there alone. That first time, I think we're just lucky that you were able to get back out. Let's not press our luck again. I don't want to lose you in that place, Agent Hart. Let's go do this thing before I lose my nerve.
Yeah. So are we going back to the house?
Going back to the Garrison mansion it feels a little uneasy for all of you. It's hard to look past the stuff that you've seen and heard and know about this place. It's been a few hours, but you still figure you have a little time before first shift jumps in. We'll say that the clock on the wall says 3 a.m. You figure you have at least 2.5 to 3 hours before anybody shows up. That's where you're at. Getting back access inside to the Garrison mansion is not difficult. There's a sliding door you know which is open. The main door, which is also accessible.
I'll take a chance to pull Dr. Weber aside. It's at any moment that I can. Just even when we are getting out of the car. So, Weber, what did you do with Brett?
I don't know. I think that like the repressed biology knowledge that I have, because chemistry is the superior science, the biology that I suppressed, I don't know if it just sort of like is in there still and it came out and I like went into some sort of trance, but I don't think that's what happened. But I mean, I did the best I could. I don't think I did that good.
Oh, that boy looks like he just came up out of the 2 weeks in the hospital. Rested and I mean, he is healed up. You see this, right? If you did, I mean, you did it. I mean, you gave him the first aid. You said you wasn't that kind of doctor, but in the hour or two that we was gone, that boy seems to have healed up.
Yes.
Weeks worth of wounds. It's a miracle.
That's one way to put it. It could be a miracle for now, but we don't know what caused it or where it came from. You know, in physics, there's like you can't create energy without destroying something, and so I don't know what's healed Brett Hawking over overnight, over a mere hours.
Well, do me a favor, keep an eye on the boy. If this is a conservation of energy situation, I don't want his head to explode because all of his scratches and such got healed up.
Yeah, I wonder if there's energy owed somewhere.
It's unsettling. Let's catch up.
If there's a price to be paid when it comes to breaching this threshold, Agent Hawking, it's the eyes. It's that after image that's painted on all of the walls here. Your brain does it for you. It takes no exertion of will at all. You see the eyes. You see them looking at you. They're in every room. Little tiny ones. They sit around doors. They're in grates, ventilation systems especially. You see little eyes watching you.
I'm going to choose to ignore them in the same way that it feels like acknowledging they exist would make them more real. They're just the little floaties.
Of course. Of course, that's what they are. The rest of you entering the Garrison mansion don't see anything in particular out of place, unless you count like the scratched up drywall in certain areas, the floor over there, which you know leads to where Tomas's bloodstain is, simple stuff like that. So where are the four of you going to take that panel? Are you going to go back up to 35 to deal with this?
I reckon we need to go back up to the 3rd floor, but I am not going back in that room. I'll tell you what.
Maybe we just try it outside of that room. And if
I like
you
that.
and Hart get in and we can pull you back out, then you'll kind of know if it's around the same place maybe, or if it feels the same to Hart or whatever.
That seems reasonable. I feel like it's going to be the same going in no matter where we set it up at.
Well, we could do the test down here then. Just right in this foyer.
I'm happy to do that too.
Let's just try that first.
Okay. So walk me through it, Winters. What test are you doing?
I can get my pocket knife and I whip it open and I cut out the duct tape that I used to secure that closet door and unstick it and set it up so then Carvins is facing up towards the ceiling. Look over at Agent Hart and I said, don't get started until we all ready. Put the body armor on. Everyone should put their body armor on and load up and get your flashlights and get the rope out of the go bag and make a knot and tie it. And I hand it over to Agent Hart, and then I hand the other side over to Brett. And then I step back and I watch Agent Hart because she seems to have the magic in this situation.
So it's on the ground now, right? That's where you put it. You're going to lean down and I'm going to just look at the carving again.
Okay.
The whole thing, I was mesmerized by it before after hearing, something tell me that, it's right there. I feel like my hands are shaky because this is more deliberate now. And I'm going to put my fingers more flush into the grooves like I did before.
Okay. You lose a point of willpower and you lose a point of sanity and Agent Hart disappears. If connected to a rope, the rope severs and falls on the floor.
Some bitch.
So now all of the rest of you are going to lose sanity because you literally watched someone disappear in front of your face.
Oh, I thought it was losing sanity because my science experiment failed.
Nope. You all lose
Okay.
2 points of sanity in this regard.
I mean, this is old hat by now. We done seen this.
It's now all old hat to all of you now.
I'm 7 away from breaking.
Fantastic.
Oh shit! Oh, that didn't work. Winters, did you were closest? Did you see what she did? How'd she get in there?
I was watching her as close as I could, so I'll immediately jump over and try and just at least duplicate the actions that I saw her doing.
You reach out, you grab the panel, I take a will point power from you, and you're gone.
Holy fucking shit.
Brett, let's see if we just both go in to get, you hold on to me and I'll grab the panel.
Sure. I'll follow through with that, though.
Okay. So, Weber, you grab the panel.
Yes, and Brett Hawking wraps his big, strong arms around my waist.
All right. And within a moment, Brett, you are hugging nothing but air. You lose a point of willpower, Dr. Weber.
So I'm just going to stare down at this piece of wood. I got to just look at this thing. And I got to go, are they ever coming out? Should I go in? And I'll go ahead and touch the thing.
Yeah, if your intention is to enter, then you lose a point of willpower and you're inside.
My intention is to enter.
Just want to make sure we're all clear. For those of you who have entered the other side of this, which is now all of you, something curious is revealed. So instead of being together, you are all in fact apart. Around you, there is pitch black, complete and utter darkness. You have flashlights, so we'll assume that you'll go for them just for the feel and the need of safety. And you fire up that maglite flashlight, those intense, really, really powerful flashlights. And honestly, after a good 3 or so feet, they dim considerably. You don't really have a good view of the space that you're in. The ground here is a little moist. It's a mixture of mud and rock. The ceiling is not terribly far from the top of your head. You could very easily touch it should you decide to. It's moss covered, and there's definitely some things crawling on it, bugs, but that's really no matter. They're not falling on you by any means, and there's not some horde of them over your head. It looks like a tunnel was dug out around you. You can tell that it goes both left and right from where you're at. There is a spot that is above you that is lightly illuminated, and you see a strange sort of mirror image of the geometry that you were presented with before you touched that panel. It smells very earthy down here. You can smell wood, decay, mold. It's definitely a wet environment, although there's no rain, but the humidity and the moisture level here is pretty high. And none of you at this point have anyone close to you.
Well, Weber definitely starts calling out for her friends. Hawking, Hart, Winters, can you hear me? Shout if you can hear. Winters, Hart, Hawking, Hawking, Winter, Hearts, Winters,
There is an echo that you were treated to, Weber. It's your own voice in the tunnel, unflatteringly showing off your anxiety to anyone who's in auditory range.
Yeah.
None of the rest of you hear Agent Weber's voice, nor do you hear your own should you call out similarly looking for others.
Can I bend down and touch the ground?
As advertised, at least in your senses, this is sort of like a tunneled out underground space. Looks like it was probably carved by hand at some point. Carved is sort of a strange word, but it's the best I can give you at this point, Agent.
Is there like loose rock?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to pick up a piece of loose rock. I'm going to stand up, get a baseball stance about me, and chuck that piece of loose rock as hard as I can in a linear direction.
Okay, you do so. It clatters its way down one of the spaces here, this tunnel area in front of you. You hear it clatter off some of the other rocks.
Like off walls, or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there are walls. Can I see any walls if I point my flashlights at walls?
You can see the wall that's next to you. You can see if you reach a little bit, reach out with your arm and scan the field with the flashlight. Again, the flashlights are going to give you about 3 to maybe 4 feet of honest visibility. The rest of it, after that, seems to just get chewed up by the darkness that's here.
I would like to examine the wall.
Okay.
What is it that I observe about this wall? Smooth?
It is not smooth. It feels like an excavated wall. So it feels to you like somebody was down here at some point with a shovel, maybe a pickaxe or whatnot, and they tunneled out this space. But this is large. Like the work that's been done here is fairly extensive.
So occasionally there's a tool mark or something.
Occasionally there is a after echo of a tool mark that was made likely decades ago. That's the way I'll put it.
Gotcha. Thank you for that.
Weber starts singing her comfort song, which is Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler. So that's what she does in this moment to try to calm herself down because it's very dark in here.
Yeah, like every time you reach that word heart, it very much pains you a little bit because you hear internally in your head your voice like sort of wobble. Winters, you hear some skittering to your left for a moment.
Got the flashlight out. I get my handgun out, the other hand, and I'm going to look in that direction. Gun at the ready.
You can see something was there. You can see the grab patterns of some sort of animal that was there. The moss has been sort of torn and moved away.
I will put my flashlight, I'm going to put it on the ground while I scratch an arrow in the direction of that noise.
Oh, okay.
Then I'll put my knife away. I'll listen for a second because I know if Weber is around, she'll be shouting her head off, attracting all sorts of monsters straight to her. See if I can hear her. And you previously said we couldn't, so. And I will start to move quickly in the direction of that skittering. Because I've been in the holes before. You've got to move. You don't stick around.
Yeah, you have been in holes like this before. Dangerous, many a dangerous thing is happening. So you move in that direction, and you probably get. I don't know how fast you're moving, but I'll say that you're likely not moving terribly fast. You're being careful, moving with purpose, but not, speed. So you get about what you think is about 4 or 5 meters down this tunnel space, and you realize the tunnel changes. The rocks change. Well, they change to brick, masoned brick.
When that happens, I'll take a moment at that threshold and turn my flashlight off, close my eyes, let my eyes adjust for about 5 seconds. As long as I can bear to have them closed in this dark. It might actually be 2 seconds, and then I have to open them, but see if I can see any light or anything down that direction.
Maybe a pinpoint. But the tunnel here, when it changes over to this masoned brick, you see that there's a turn coming. You can see the flat wall and then another dark opening portal space, right? So that the absence of definition, not an actual portal, but an absence of definition, there's sort of this dark space as the tunnel turns right. And as you move a little bit into that space, you can see a little tiny pinpoint of light.
So I'm going to do what I don't want to do. I'm going to put my flashlight in my belt off. I'll have my left hand sort of touching the wall on my left. And I'm going to move, gun out. I'm going to move forward towards the light.
Okay. You move forward towards the light. You have your hand out, sort of giving you a bracing point, just barely enough to touch that masoned wall so that way you can steady yourself. And you feel fingers run their way up your wrist and then across your fingertips just for a moment. And you recoil out of pure reaction. But you feel it.
I have met them before, so I'm sort of expecting it too. So I think I don't have an audible outburst. I definitely have a recoil, and then I will try and recover quickly and say, very funny. We're just here for these kids. I'm just going to keep going. Walking. I sort of have now my arm out a little bit in front of my face because now I don't want to run into something. If it goes totally pitch black, I'm going to have to get the flashlight out. I'm not going to keep going. But I always want to make sure, at least on the left side, just choosing the left side because left is right. At least on the left side, I'm not going to get an opening surprising me. On the right side, I could completely fall apart.
So I think that's a fantastic plan. I'm just going to give you this last little bit of information that your brain eventually does get through to you. The brush mark that you felt along your forearm and wrist and eventually into your fingers was not an animal. It felt like human fingers. Adult human fingers.
Ugh. So I'll stop. As that fires in my brain and that revelation, I'll stop. And I'll grab the flashlight. I'll turn around, point it over towards where I had come from, and I will flick it on.
For the flash, just for the momentary second that it first turns on, you see Dottie, and then she's gone.
I think that one will have me yell, fall back up against the wall a little bit, just lean up against the wall, flashlight left and right, just looking sort of frantically for a second and probably breathing faster. And Handler, I think I'm going to have to take just a little sit down for 30 seconds on that one.
Yeah. Okay. You sit down. Agent Hart, you were the first one in. This darkness is something you've seen before. This flashlight is very powerful. It pushes back the darkness way better than the one you had before.
So I'll have ended up waiting for a while, just standing, waiting. I've already been to this part before, right? Like, I see that there's a tunnel. I have already been to the floor. I already experienced this part initially. So waiting here isn't a hard thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Not for a little while, anyway. Until I realize that either no one's coming with me or everyone's by themselves. And there's not really an in-between thing. There's no way to really know. And I really like my compatriots, my fellow agents, but I don't know them as well as I would like to yet. But they're also not here. So I'm going to have to continue on without them, despite the fact that this is exactly what Dr. Weber said would happen, me going off by myself.
It's true. I do believe Dr. Weber did foretell that. Okay, so you're going to go off by yourself then?
Yeah.
Why don't you make
I'm
me an intelligence times 5 roll?
Okay. That is a 10 under 90.
Oh, look at you, smarty pants. We'll see how that works out for you.
Right. I have a bad feeling about this.
I think you should. You make your way, hoping beyond hope, to either find someone or find these children, these lost children, innocents. You find neither. You don't find your friends, and you don't find any children. You do come upon another portion of this tunnel, which is made of well done masonry bricks. So those tunnel walls and floor kind of give way to a spot that looks like it was purpose built. The rest of it seems sort of a warren, a human-sized warren, but a warren nonetheless. You get to this break point, which seems to turn to your left, and there's a significant rush of air that comes at you, and it smells like sulfur. It's very strong. You hear your mother's voice in your ear. She says, "Honey, don't go any further. There's nothing down there that's good. It's all bad."
Ah, but isn't it always bad, Mom? It's always bad with you. It's always bad for you.
I just want the best for you. I don't want anything bad to happen to you. Her voice is clear as day in your ear.
I know it's not you, but it's nice to hear your voice when you're lucid. And you worry like a mother should.
I am a mother.
And what about those kids, though? The kids that are lost. They need their moms too.
They're not lost at all. They're with their mother.
I don't like that. What do you mean their mother? They all have a different mother.
The hallway is oddly cold now. So, Dr. Weber.
Dr. Weber, I think, has, I wouldn't just sit still. I would slowly walk, almost a scuffle, down this hall while singing Total Eclipse of the Heart. So you just lightly hear Dr. Weber clutching a flashlight. Turn around. Every now and then I get a so something. Dr. Weber doesn't know the words. Turn around. It's her favorite song. She doesn't know the words. And she hopes that one of her companions will hear this and recognize that it's her, because they've probably heard her nervously hum Total Eclipse of the Heart previously.
You're singing. You're continuing to nervously sing. You encounter very similarly parts of this tunnel that are seemingly purpose-built. You find a lot of dips and rises in your tunnel. You sort of have to get low and then get high a couple of times, and then eventually you're moving through the space. But while you do that, while you sort of frantically pay tribute to Bonnie Tyler, I would like you to make me an int times 5 roll.
I can absolutely do that with some dice that are very lucky. I rolled a 68 under 85.
Well, fantastic. You are also very intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
So you're singing, and you're getting around to that portion of the song. It talks about getting tired of listening to the sound of your tears. So there are some very poignant portions of this verse that you're singing. And you're moving through this darkness just barely with the torch, and you realize that someone is singing along with you. But there is a second voice here. It's a voice you know. It's a feminine voice, and it's sort of matching you. And you get a little caught up in the fact that, like, someone singing this song with you. It begins to feel good for a moment. Just a moment. This is Jessica's voice. This is your sister's voice. She's singing this with you.
I try to hold on to that sound with my ear and turn to it as tears start to well up in my eyes.
You turn to it and there is what can only be described as an apparition. For a moment, the body of your sister is there, singing into the handle of a hairbrush. You get just a blast, just a momentary vision of it, and then it evaporates.
I start to spin around to see if I can find her again in the dark somewhere.
Right there. You spin around a couple of times, and then you see this light, this form moving away.
And each time I reach out and it dissipates and I spin around and try to find it again, and I'm getting dizzy from all of the like turning around and reeling and trying to find her again, and I'm singing louder to see if she'll come closer or sing louder alongside me.
She does seem to continue to sing as you revolve, as you turn around. Her voice deepens when she talks about your love is like a shadow on me all of the time. And there's just too much maleness in that voice for it to be your sister. You hear the harmonic shift in your ears, and it stops you in your tracks just for a moment.
I think Dr. Weber, like, maybe even drops the flashlight and clutches her head and kind of hits herself in the forehead, like, get out of my, really, you're not here, we're in the basement, this is the basement, it put us in the basement, and you're not here, none of you are here, you're not real, you're not real.
Very good. Agent Weber, make me a stand roll.
Absolutely. 67, which is over my Santa 41.
Okay. Have we established what your breaking point is?
Yes, my breaking point is 33. That's what I have on here.
Just wanted to check. So you lose a point of sanity from the unnatural, from frustration, from just not being able to process all of the images and the anxiety. It runs its way all the way down your back, and you realize that your head really hurts because you've been hitting yourself now for a little while. It won't stop. And I'll leave you there. For you, Agent Hawking, this isn't hard at all. Your flashlight is bright. It sort of splashes light across many of these tunnel walls. You get a good range. I mean, you can even dial the mag light in and out, and you get a nice wide range on some of those bulbs, probably 15, 20 feet. And yeah, the place is disgusting, and it's a warren, but now that you've made your adjustments, now that you've found your mark, you've got no issue moving through this space.
And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start moving swiftly.
Okay.
Hopefully I run into somebody. I don't want to trip on the floor. I'm going to be being cautious, but I'm going to move swiftly. I'm choosing a direction at random, and I'm going.
Okay, so make me an int time 5 roll.
Understood. Oh. Okay, that's a bad number. That's a 67 over 50. It's my intelligence. It's 10.
Okay, now, because of that, you're going to have to make me a luck roll.
Oh, perfect. I like those kinds of rolls because they are easy. Oh, that's a higher number. That is 73 over 50.
Okay. You are moving through the tunnels. And as you do so, that light that you've been using to guide your path dims. And behind you, you hear a bunch of scratching, digging, animal fingers and claws digging through the mud and rock behind you.
Oh no, like chasing me kind of thing?
Yeah, kinda.
We gotta move swifter.
Okay. You begin to move swifter. Who do you serve? You hear in your ear. What master do you serve?
The United States Navy?
Okay, make me a power roll.
All right, United States Navy, let's do this. That is a 45 under 75.
Okay. So I have a success as well. My POW is pretty high. You come to an immediate complete stop, like frozen stop.
Like involuntarily, like I come to a stop?
Yeah.
Is it because I observed something?
No, it's not actually.
Oh, something observed me.
Yes. So you watch in frozen terror because you can't even move muscles. You watch as one of these creatures, one of these big fat raccoons, I use air quotes, moves its way around to the front of you. It's probably about 3 feet tall. It has a human face, at least sort of. Its fur is mottled gray and black. The fur comes all the way up towards the head and then sort of recedes into this mask of skin and nose and pair of red eyes that stare back at you. And it lets a smirk grace its face. It takes a big, long inhale. Just who I've been looking for. Come with me. We have a use for you. It reaches out and it touches your leg with that paw that has a series of claws on each one of the fingertips. And when it touches you, it makes absolute total sense in the world that you'd want to go wherever it asks, because it knows where to go. And you begin walking through the tunnels again, led now by your newest furry friend. Agent Winters, you come across Dr. Weber trying to bash her own skull in. That little point of light that you were chasing, that you were hunting, Agent Winters, is a flashlight that is rolling around on the ground behind Dr. Weber as she continues to quote musical lyrics and hammer her own head with her fist.
Aaron, stop! Aaron, stop! And I will put my hand behind her head. So if she's going to bash her head into the wall, it's going to bash into my hand, and I'm going to grab her other arm and, Aaron, give her a little shake.
Not real. You're not real. Nothing's down here. We're in the basement. Nothing's down here, and you're not real.
Aaron, it's Elliot. It's Elliot. Open your eyes. Aaron, it's Elliot.
Weber slowly cracks one eye open, scared to fully open them both. That she'll open them, and whatever voice is talking to her will disappear. If I look, are you gonna be gone? Are you gonna leave if I look?
I'll give her a light slap in the face.
Okay. There's a light slap on your cheek. It's definitely different. It does break you a little bit out of what was going on.
Yeah, that's definitely Winters. Okay, that's no then. And I open both my eyes.
What the hell's going on with you?
God, you're real. And Weber just like bear hugs Winters.
And I do the arms to the side for a second, and then I'll hug back.
I kept seeing people, my sister, and then there was someone else's voice, and they were there, and I could see them, but then I couldn't see them, and then I could see them, and then I couldn't. They weren't real, and they weren't really here, and we're pretty sure we're in the basement now, and they're not here.
Okay. Yeah. I saw Dottie, and I tell you what, Dottie does show up in all the most unexpected and inopportune places, but I am damn sure my ex-wife ain't here.
Have you seen the others or heard the other? Do you know where Hawking or Hart are?
I ain't seen anyone else. I ain't heard anyone else. Well, I think I heard one of them skitting around in the dark, but I expected that. We should expect that. The voices, we know they do the voices. We know they're tricky like this. You're fine. We're going to be fine. We got to find Brett. We got to find Hart.
Yeah, no, they should not be in here alone. It tricked us into coming here alone, and they shouldn't be alone. We have to find them fast, soon.
And Handler, this is still just a tunnel. We're still in the cobblestone or the paving stones underneath or the bricks underneath.
Yeah, you're still in the bricked area when you find Dr. Weber. For you, your road here, Winters, has been mostly straight.
I don't think we're in the basement. I came from a little bit of ways. And when I started walking, I was in stone. And now we're in this brick. I think we should follow this brick this way. And I point in the same direction. I don't think we're in the basement. This is someplace else. This is someplace else, Doc.
Okay, not in the basement. Okay. Yeah, if you came from that way, then yes, we go that way, obviously.
Get your piece. Oh, no, you don't like them guns. What weapon did you have?
The gentleman, Reggie, I think called it his bitch be good stick.
Oh, well, that's sort of a rude name, bitch. Man, I don't know if I like. You like that name? I shouldn't
Not
judge.
particularly, but that is what he called it. But I have it. I pull out the baton.
Well, you know what? Once you find a weapon that you really like, you're allowed to name it whatever the hell you want.
Frederick.
Yep, like Frederick. You can name it Frederick. Let's go. And I'm going to pull out my pistol as well. I'm going to take another look over of Dr. Weber, make sure she didn't actually hurt herself. She's not bleeding.
I don't know that she's bleeding per se, but her forehead looks like somebody, took her to a WWF event or something like that. She's probably red on the front half of her forehead.
A little puffy.
Yeah, maybe. Her hand is red too. The meat of her hand.
Look, we know this place is full of weirdness. It's just like that other place. I'm going to take a little bit more rope. And what I want to do is tie a couple loose knots. Knots that if you yank them, they will come loose. I say, I'm going to tie this up on my belt. I want you to tie this up on your belt. This isn't going to keep us necessarily, but it's a connection, see? If it gets yanked hard, it's going to come loose. So this ain't no mountain climbing expedition, but I'll just feel better if I know that we have this connection between us in case it goes weird again, in case you start seeing anything. If I see anything, and same rules, if I see anything strange, I got to say it. You see anything strange, you got to say it.
Yep.
That's your first rule. Let's go find Hart. Let's go find Hawking.
Okay.
Deeper in we go.
Okay, so the both of you can make me intelligence times 5 rolls. And I'll zip over here to Agent Hart and ask her to do the same, as I assume that she's moving on from hearing her mother talk.
Yeah.
32 under 85 this time.
42 under 50.
Okay.
88 under 90.
Ooh, 88 under 90. That's a critical success because it doubles under your roll. Very good. I will say that while we'll just say the friendship rope is in place with the other 2 agents, you 3 managed to come together where 2 tunnels meet. You see flashlights. You see 2 flashlights, Agent Hart. And shortly thereafter, you see them being carried by Agent Winters and Dr. Weber.
Oh, Hart, thank God.
I waited a while.
We all came out different.
This thing that you can do if you're lost is to stay where you are, and then someone will come find you. And Winters came and found me.
Well, then I'm glad I came and found the 2 of you. As I'm kind of just looking at Dr. Weber real confused, like, okay.
Hart, she bumped her head up against the wall, I don't know, 15, 20 times. She might still be a little bit addled. Have you seen Brett, though? We haven't seen Brett.
No, you 2 are the first 2 people I've seen.
And you came from that direction, and we came from this other direction. There's been no turnoffs. Is this a 3-way?
It's a 3-way. It's almost like a cistern 3-way, right? So
Okay.
You come in from 2 separate ways. There's a center, almost circle, that's made out of masoned bricks as well. And then it seems to turn into one tunnel that goes forward.
I get my pocket knife out again, and I scratch where Dr. Weber and I came, an arrow pointing in towards the cistern, and I make 2 marks. And I do the same where Hart's tunnel, I scratch an arrow pointing in towards the cistern or the central area and make 1 mark. And it's obvious where we're going. Brett's got to be down this way.
It's the only thing that makes sense, unless he's still way further back behind us.
Oh man, I hope not. Agent Hart, do you want a friendship rope?
I'm just gonna look at you real confused for a minute.
I point at the
Sure.
rope, do a couple more knots, and do another one on my belt, and another one towards Agent Hart, hand it towards her.
Okay. You get her all roped up, and then the three of you move forward. And I think that's where we'll call this episode to a close. So now deep within the tunnels, inside a wall panel, our agents are going to find something very interesting. That'll have to wait until next episode. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of, we'll just say, From the Dust. And we'll see you very soon. Thank you and good night.